Hey, what's up? Yo, it's Jonathan Crane, Wonton Soup. What I'm about to do right now is I'm about to explain the phenomenon of planking. So this is probably going to be a pretty in-depth and lengthy explanation. So I recommend getting a drink. Also, you probably have Facebook open in another window. Just keep on doing that because you probably don't want to look at me for like 7 minutes straight either. So anyway, yeah, planking. This thing has taken off in a way that no one could have imagined. I remember, I think it was sometime around the start of May, one of my friends made a status about how it was starting up in Australia. Then literally about 1 week after that, all of a sudden this thing is just sweeping across North America like the tidal wave of the rapture that killed us all, and now we're in heaven. And a lot of people are getting into this trend. It definitely is a trend. It's probably going to go away at some point, but this is one trend that I've really gotten behind, that I'm really getting into, because I think it's really significant if you look at kind of the whole idea of it. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. People come in, yo, this is gay, this is dumb. So that's what this video is for. So basically, just to cut right to the chase here, the bottom line is that planking is situational art. And there's actually an artistic movement in the 1960s called Situationists International. They're the ones that kind of came up with this whole idea of situational art. But basically, just to give you an explanation, if you think about art, it usually happens in a defined location like a cinema, a theater, a studio, an art gallery. And that's kind of society's way of controlling it. Like an art gallery is basically a modern day concentration camp for all the queers and weirdos who wouldn't fit in, wouldn't accept the norm. So society basically relegated them all to that one building. They said like, okay, all you weirdos can have this building. You can have this building to do all the shit that you do. And then outside of that building is basically keep calm and carry on for the rest of society. Just like that poster from World War II, which really, I think, speaks a lot about our society if you examine it in depth. So, what Situationist art does, on the other hand, is it takes the art right into the society, right into the environments of the dominant population, of all those people that are trying to keep calm and carry on. So an example of situationist art, for example, would be to dress up like a priest and go into a church and deliver a sermon about how God is dead. That would be an example of situationist art. It's basically going in and creating a situation or modifying an existing one. And at this point, some of you might be thinking, okay, well, this sounds pretty interesting, but how can someone lying down on the ground or on a railing somewhere be considered situationist art? And the thing is that planking causes you to examine your surroundings differently. Because, in our society, we really become kind of hypnotized and anesthetized because day in, day out, we just walk past the same structures, the same scenery, same everything. Then all of a sudden, one day you come on, you're walking down the street, all of a sudden you see someone lying down in a bus shelter. It causes you to examine that differently because it's like, wait a minute, this person's lying down in a bus shelter. This isn't normal. This isn't normal behavior. This isn't how this scenery normally is. And it basically kind of wakes you up in a sense. And that's what planking is. And it also works the same way for the people that are doing the planking. When you go out on a planking mission, what you have to do is you come out into this world that you've seen thousands of times day in, day out, and you now have to examine it differently and say, okay, what can I plank here that no one has planked before that would be the sickest plank? So that's why planking is situations art. That's why I think that is pretty significant, why I've gotten behind it. And my advice for all the plankers out there who are having to put up with you, all these goofballs on Facebook saying like, yo, this shit is dumb, this shit is whack. My advice to you is just keep going on and doing it. Because the people that are saying that this shit is dumb, this shit is whack, it's the same type of people who back in the late 70s, early 80s were saying like, yo, graffiti is dumb. They're like, yo, I don't understand this. People are just writing their name on a train. This shit is dumb. I think graffiti too is a kind of situationist art because it goes right out into the environment of the dominant population and just modifies it and completely changes it around. So back then, people were basically saying, yo, this shit is dumb, this shit is stupid, and the same thing is going on now. So, my advice to people who are planking is just keep on doing it, because these weirdos, they just don't have the level of cognizance to be able to comprehend this. They can't understand it. I think part of that is because in our society we're kind of trained that whenever something comes wrong that challenges the order, that prevents you from keeping calm and carrying on, the first thing you have to do is resist it. And that's why a lot of people are saying this shit is gay, this shit is dumb, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to resist this thing that isn't of the norm and that challenges order. And then after that resistance, the next step is commodification, which is what kind of happened with graffiti to a certain extent. So basically, that's the idea with planking. And it's actually pretty funny because I've seen a lot of people on Facebook who consider themselves to be artistic, or even worse, who call themselves artists. And they're saying like, yo, this shit is gay, this shit is dumb. And I mean, like, I'm not really the most artistic person. If I tried applying to ACAT right now, they'd probably be like, yo, get this dancing ass mofo out of here. What's this guy doing here? But right away, as soon as I saw this, I understood what it was for. So it's really kind of funny that all these so-called artists on Facebook are saying, yo, this shit is dumb. This shit is whack. So yeah, get out there and plank. It's a nice week. This is the spring of planking. Peace. Wonton soup.